Hi, it's Shelly with Strategic Sales Advisors on my channel, Building Sustainable Sales. And this year I'm sharing insights on how business owners can enhance their sales processes, strategies, teams, and systems to drive sustainable growth. And today, we're diving into one of the most crucial aspects of business success, and that's building a sales organization for long-term growth. So whether you've just started to expand your sales team or you're looking to optimize an existing one, this video will give you some actionable steps to create high-performing sales organizations. So let's get started. So a strong sales organization isn't just about hitting the quarter's numbers, right? It's the foundation for sustainable, scalable growth. And here's why. A well-structured sales team ensures consistency in processes and outcomes even as your business grows, right? We want to make sure that we've got something where the structure makes sense and allows you to scale as you grow, but also have consistency through the process. It enables you to target the right customers, close deals, and retain clients for the long term. And most importantly, it gives you, as a business owner, the freedom to focus on strategy rather than managing the day-to-day sales operations. Even if you have a sales leader in place, if you are right now engaging much more into what's going on in sales, understanding what the challenges and the opportunities are there, then we need to look at your organization and uncover why there's some kind of broken system in there that's causing you to be more involved in that than you need to. Because as a business owner, you need to be focused on the day-to-day strategy of growth of your organization and the overall health of your organization versus one specific part of the organization itself. So you want to think of the sales organization as the engine of your business, right? If it's well-tuned, it drives everything forward efficiently. So what makes a strong sales organization? Well, there's a couple of areas that I think are critical components to this. And let's talk about those, right? The first is clear strategy. Your team really needs a defined roadmap for achieving sales goals, being aligned with your overall business objectives, right? So I've talked about in previous videos, if those two things don't partner up, if there's no clear strategy tying your business objectives and your sales goals together, then we have a break in the system and we need to clean that up. The second thing is we need to have defined processes in order to have a strong sales organization. From lead generation to closing deals, standardized processes ensure a consistency and efficiency in all of the actions. It means that all of your team, whether that's one person or it's 15 salespeople, that they're all operating very consistently and efficiently, and the message that's going to the clients is consistent as well. We also want to have aligned technology, right? Tools like CRMs and analytics platforms, they streamline operations and can provide you with valuable insights for you to make strategic decisions with. And then we want to have a very supportive culture, right? We want to have a positive culture that encourages collaboration, that resilience and growth among your team. Salespeople will stay with you if they feel like that they are wanted and that they are being given the education they needed and that they are being supported. So we want to build that strong culture in there. Without these elements, these four elements, so clear strategy, defined processes, aligned technology, and supportive culture, even the most talented sales team can struggle to perform. So let's talk about how we would structure your sales team for scalability, right? That's what we're talking about today. So as your business grows, you're going to have the need to adapt your structure. And we want to start by identifying the roles that you need now versus the roles you might need as you scale. So for example, an early stage business, a business that's less than, let's say, 5 years old, might focus on generalist sales reps, right? Who can handle multiple different tasks. So business development to account management, all of the different roles and responsibilities within the sales aspect. As your business grows, you might need to add different specialist roles, such as account managers, business development reps, or sales engineers. A scalable structure will include clear reporting lines and communication channels. And this ensures that as your team expands, everyone knows their role and how they contribute to the bigger picture. Where I see the breakdown in a lot of sales teams is understanding roles and responsibilities. If you have business development managers or business development reps in, and their role is to identify prospects and get them through the first stage of discovery before passing them on to an account manager to then do additional qualification, proposals, and then close the business, you've got to understand and let them understand what role they play, and then what actions they should be taking, and then how they're incentivized around those different roles and responsibilities, right? Then they can become partners. The other thing that I have seen is two disparate sides of an organization. So maybe one is selling a product and the other is selling a service that services that product. And now you've got these two disparate sales organizations operating separately, and they don't understand how to integrate their business, right? So if I sell this product, how do I pass that person on to the person who can sell the service agreement to go with that product? Think car dealerships, right? They sell the car, but they really make their money on the servicing of that automobile. So there needs to be a two-way conversation in there if you're selling something and then you're selling a service contract to go with something. Just an idea to have a conversation. All right, so we've talked about all of this. So let's define, why are defining clear roles and responsibility non-negotiable other than what I just talked about? Well, ambiguity leads to inefficiency and frustration. So each team member should understand their specific goals and what key performance indexes, KPIs, that they're being judged on. And on top of the key performance indexes, one of the things that you may want to look at that we've been talking about in sales in the last couple of years are what we would call DPIs, daily performance indexes, right? What are those daily things they should be doing that will drive towards the KPIs, that will drive towards the key performance indexes? What stage of the sales process are they responsible for? Again, as I've spoken to you in the past, when I build out a sales cycle or a sales process, I'm building out each stage, who's responsible for it, what they're supposed to accomplish, and then what they need before they can move to the next stage. And that is so everyone has clear roles and responsibilities through the sales cycle. And then again, how will they collaborate with other roles like marketing and customer success, along with business development and account management, and even the operational aspect, right? So when a product or service is sold, who is operationally then supporting that client in the next phase of their business with your company? So let's give a good example, right? A business development representative might focus again on prospecting and qualifying. Then the account manager picks it up and they handle the nurturing and then the closing. And when everyone knows what they're supposed to do, what lane they sit in, then the entire team operates more effectively. All right. So we've talked through several different things, roles and responsibilities, critical importance. Now let's really tackle one of the biggest challenges out there, and I think most businesses struggle in this space, and that is hiring and retaining top talent. Let's talk a couple tips. Sales skills, very important, but we need to be looking beyond skills and experience. We need to also look at cultural fit and attitude, because you could hire the most skilled and the most senior salesperson to come into your team, but if they don't have the right attitude and they don't fit your culture, it will never work out. And that one person could make the entire sales team a disaster, right? They could come in and they could, you've heard the saying potentially that one rotten apple can spoil the barrel, right? We don't want to do that. We don't want to bring someone in. So you need to look at skills and experience and what they know and how they know it. But we also need to look at then what's their attitude and their cultural fit. Two key things. During interviews, we want to ask situational questions to gauge if they are good at problem solving and they're good at resilience. Salespeople here know a lot, and they need to be able to understand that that's going to happen and have resilience of, that's fine, I'll move on to the next client or customer, or I'll have conversations around objections. We need to make sure that they can think on their feet. The other thing that I want to make sure that we look at when we're in interviews as well is it's commonly thought that salespeople should be liked. Everybody should like the salespeople. And the reality is I don't want to hire salespeople who feel like they must be liked. And I'll give you a reason why. I want them to feel like they need to be respected by their clients and by others. But salespeople who feel like they must be liked oftentimes will negotiate down in order to make the client like them, right? So they will give things away in negotiation to the client so that the client likes them and feels good about them. And that's not good for us. So we don't want them to be liked, but we do want them to be respected. If they happen to be liked, that's great, but that's not the goal that we're going after. We also want to prioritize diversity in bringing fresh perspectives to your team. Diversity of thought and ideas, even diversity of backgrounds, can bring new and fresh ideas to a sales team, new processes, new ways of approaching clients, all of those types of things. We want to look at that. We want to make sure that we are creating diversity within our team. Now, let's talk retention strategies. We want to offer and foster competitive compensation and clear growth opportunities. When it comes to compensation, we want to make sure that we are keeping up with the market, not only our local market, but what's going on in that industry as a whole, right? There's a lot of differences out there when it comes to, for example, let's talk product sales versus software sales, or long sales cycles versus really short sales cycles. So we need to keep up with what's going on and the demand out there, and also the demand for team members. Think about, if you've not heard about it, but the CPA space. They're not in sales, but there's not enough CPAs going through the CPA program to keep up with the demand for the need for CPAs. So they're going to be able to drive a higher salary, per se, because there's just not enough of them. So we want to make sure that we are staying competitive. I'm not saying you have to overpay, but we do want to make sure that we are staying competitive. And then we also want to talk to them about growth opportunities. What are the growth opportunities within your company? And if there aren't growth opportunities within your company, what can you do to help them grow that they would eventually potentially move to a larger company? It's not a bad thing for that to happen, right? We should always have succession planning going on, but we want to make sure that we are talking to them about competitive compensation and how they can grow in their career. We want to foster a supportive environment where team members feel valued. We want to be having strategic one-on-ones with our sales team members. In fact, with all of our team members, but with our sales team members, where they have times to voice what they'd like additional training on, what they're struggling with. It's their time to meet with us and have that conversation. We want to make sure that we are supporting them in every way possible. And then we want to provide regular feedback and recognition. Too often I see companies and organizations that have one performance evaluation a year, and that's the only time that team members hear from leadership on how they're performing and what they could work on to grow their career or just work on in general for their current role. We need to be doing better than that. At minimum, we should be doing performance evaluations twice a year, a mid-year check-in on where they are against their goals, whether that's revenue goals or professional goals, checking in with them through their one-on-ones, and then also providing recognition for positive things that they're doing. I talk a lot about this when we build sales playbooks and we launch those in a company and organization. When sales team members use it and see success from it, then we need to be recognizing them for that, rewarding them. That goes around to the rest of the team, right? Salespeople like to be recognized. They like to have that conversation. And I want you to remember this: retaining top talent isn't just about perks. It's not just about money, and it's not just about perks. It's about creating a culture where people want to stay and to succeed, right? I'm not saying they don't want the money. I'm saying the money and the culture need to be aligned so that the team members feel valued. All right. So last thing I want to talk about before we wrap things up. Let's talk about measuring and maintaining team performance. So tracking performance isn't just about micromanaging. In fact, it's nothing about micromanaging. And if you've ever worked for a micromanager, you know why I say that. It's about empowerment and empowering your team with data to improve. I'm going to give you a quick example before I jump into some key points that I want to make sure that you monitor. I worked with a client, and they had a sales leader that once a team member talked with clients and got to the point where they were ready to quote for the product that they were selling, the only person who could put that quote together was the sales leader, right? So everything bogged down with the sales leader, first of all. So now we created an inefficient process. But two, it didn't allow the sales team member to feel empowered to go ahead and propose to that client, right? To put something together, to feel empowered to be a part of the full sales process. It's kind of like if you've ever bought a car and the pricing and you're having negotiation and someone says, well, let me go talk to my manager if I can do that, there's a lack of empowerment in there. So set parameters, right? You can set guardrails on things, but empower your team because that's what's going to drive performance. So let's talk metrics and that we can track to measure our teams. We can track conversion rates at each of the stages of the sales cycle. We can track the average deal size and the sales cycle length. We can track via, individual and team quota attainment. Those are some of the key areas that we could track to see what performance is happening. If we set other goals, so training and education that they need, all of these different types of things, you can track those areas as well. We want to make sure that we are documenting those consistently and where they are in the process. We also, as I said, we want to make sure that we're doing regular performance reviews. We want to celebrate wins. We want to identify the areas of improvement, and we want to set new goals that align with your long-term strategy. And again, we want those goals to be a stretch, but they need to be also attainable. You cannot set pie-in-the-sky goals with an expectation that that's going to motivate people to go above and beyond. We need to set goals that are SMART goals. We need to set them as a bit of a stretch, but they need to have the ability to attain them. And we also need to create consistency in how we measure and the feedback that we give, because that will keep your teams focused and motivated. If you're not doing things on a consistent basis, not only individually, but as a team, you're going to cause issues and you're going to cause a little bit of a culture challenge. So let's wrap things up here. To build a sales organization that will drive long-term success, we want to understand the importance of a strong team for growth. We want to establish key components like strategy, processes, and culture. We want to structure our team for that scalability, right? So we can add additional people and it doesn't cause a rift. We want to define clear roles and responsibilities. We want to hire and retain top talent and make sure that we're compensating that top talent well and that we're creating a culture of support around them. And then we also want to measure and maintain that performance, right? We want to measure people against what we've set out for them to do, and then we want to maintain that performance. If we do these steps, we can create a sales engine that's not just effective today, but is adaptable for the future. So I hope you found this video helpful. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe for more insights. And let me know in the comments, what's your biggest challenge when it comes to building or managing a sales team? I'd love to hear from you. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time on Building Sustainable Sales. Bye for now.